Last month, I showed how the average adult could survive for just $6.25 worth of groceries per week at Target. So here's week 2. Imagine your weekly grocery budget is just $10. And sadly, with the pandemic and mass underemployment and unemployment, this is a sad reality for a lot of Americans right now. In my little scenario, you spent just $6.25 last week at Target in an extreme survival budget grocery shopping trip. So that means that this week you have $13.75 to spend. You also didn't use up all the oil and salt that you bought last week, so you still have about 32 ounces of oil and most of a pound of salt already in your pantry. So you return to Target and you buy the following: a 5-pound bag of flour, a pound of black beans, a pound of lentils, a pound of chickpeas, 10 pounds of rice, cider vinegar, an onion, and 2 pounds of carrots. This cost $13.08 and is 27,770 calories of food. Now, this is the part of the video where you scratch your head and you say, that's not enough food, or that's boring. And I agree with you on the latter statement. But this is not about delicious food. This is about survival. This is about saving what little money you possibly can now so that you can afford to stock up your pantry and buy in bulk in the future. Now, let me explain why I chose these 8 ingredients: flour and beans. You may remember these 2 items from week 1, and if you haven't already seen that video, check it out because it clarifies a little bit of the parameters of my little experiment. Basically, flour and beans are not only both very cheap, but in tandem, they take care of a lot of your basic nutrient needs. Lentils. Lentils, like beans, are a legume. This means they're an excellent source of protein, fiber, and other micronutrients. Another benefit of lentils as opposed to dried beans is that they do not require a pre-soak, so they're so much more convenient to cook with. You may already have heard of lentils most from lentil soup, but you can also turn lentils into curries, mashes, and you can even bake cookies with them. Lentils can also be sprouted in just a few days, so they're a great hack for growing your own very cheap, fresh vegetables at home. Plus, if you're anything like me, you're not really a fan of cooked legumes, so sprouted lentils is actually a really great way to kind of sneak legumes into your diet. You can't sprout all legumes, unfortunately, but if you go to the video description, I have a link to a site that really lays out in detail how you can sprout all different kinds of things: grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts. One legume that you can sprout besides lentils is chickpeas, which brings me to chickpeas. Chickpeas are another legume, so they have many of the same health benefits as lentils and beans. They're also milder in flavor, and that makes them a really good gateway legume if you're like me and you don't like legumes. They're a great way to sneak legumes into somebody's diet. They are the main ingredient in hummus and falafel, for example, 2 foods which have gained a lot of popularity outside of the Middle East in the last couple decades, and oh my god, my husband and I love falafel and hummus so much. We eat it all the time. Dried chickpeas require a pre-soak before cooking, so you do have to plan ahead by a day if you plan on using them, but they are much cheaper than canned chickpeas, so it is well worth it. After you cook your chickpeas, save your cooking liquid. It can be whipped up just like egg whites and used in baking, which we'll get more into in week 3 of this series. Once you cook your chickpeas, you have a few options. You can toss them as is into salads, or you can roast them and eat them as a snack, crispy chickpeas. If you have a few more ingredients, you can turn them into hummus. You can also throw them into soups, stir fries, sneak them into mashed potatoes and smoothies, just about anything really. Speaking of ingredients that you can put into just about anything, rice. Rice is a staple in cultures all over the world, and for good reason. It's cheap, nutritious, keeps well, and makes an excellent canvas for all other sorts of flavors. This 10-pound bag of rice cost only $4.99, which makes it just 50 cents per pound. Worth noting that if I had bought a single pound bag of rice, that would have set me back almost a whole dollar. $1 per pound versus a $0.50 per pound. So as you can see, the ability to buy things in bulk saves you a lot of money. This is why it's crucial to start small at first and make some sacrifices up front, because it'll help you make these sorts of grocery investments for your pantry. This bag of rice alone has 16,000 calories and would feed an average adult for 8 days. Since you'd have other foods to eat besides the rice though, you wouldn't be just eating literally nothing but rice, this rice will definitely last you a few weeks. You can, of course, just steam or boil your rice and eat it plain with a little salt. Maybe add a little oil for lubrication and richness. Or if it's short grain rice, you could shape it into onigiri or rice balls. It's a pleasant way to eat room temperature rice, and you'd be surprised at what a difference simply pressing your rice into a shape makes in the eating experience. And if you're feeling a little frisky, you can use some of the oil and salt from last week's shopping excursion to make puffed rice. It's just like popcorn, except it's rice. Check out Jun's kitchen to see how that works. There's also the classic beans and rice or fried rice. Fried rice is, however, a lot better if you have some sauce and veggies to put into it. Which brings me to carrots. Fresh veggies are not only very flavorful, but they are an important part of a healthy diet. If you want to get your veggies and not break the bank, carrots are the way to go. They're consistently one of the cheapest vegetables you can buy, and they're a great source of vitamin A. They also contain potassium, vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin E, several B vitamins, calcium, iron, and many other minerals, and of course fiber. Carrots are also great because you can eat them raw or cooked, and they last a very long time if stored in a cool, dark, dry place. You don't even need a refrigerator to keep them. Let's not forget though that legumes are also technically vegetables, and they are one of the more cost-effective vegetables since they are much higher in calories and protein than other vegetables like, say, carrots. To better understand why vegetables are very expensive, check out the video I did on price and calorie comparisons. While carrots are honestly a bit of a splurge if you're on an extreme survival diet, they will make your lentil soup taste so much better, and when combined with sprouted lentils, you've got a salad. All you need is salad dressing, which brings me to cider vinegar. So this is a bit of a controversial purchase, just like salt was in week 1. Vinegar gives you no calories and hardly any nutrients either. So what's the point? Why would you buy vinegar if you're on a survival diet? I'll tell you why. Sourness is one of the main tastes in food. Add a bit of sour to your dishes and they're kicked up to a whole new level. A dash in your lentil soup and you've got a more complex flavor. A dash in your rice and you've practically got sushi rice. And you can mix some together with the oil and salt from last week to make a very basic salad dressing. And guess what? Vinegar also has a multitude of uses outside of cooking. It makes a great scalp treatment for dandruff, as well as a rinse that strips your hair of buildup. When diluted with water, it makes a great all-purpose household cleaner. Add a splash to your laundry if your cat peed on your sheets. Unfortunately, we have to do this a lot. This little bottle of vinegar will last you more than a week, and it's definitely worth buying, even if you are on a very tight budget. Think of all the money you'll save not needing to buy all those expensive cleaning and hair care products. And last but not least, onion. While onions themselves are very low in calories, they do provide you with some vitamins and minerals. But really, the main reason I'm including onion in this lineup is for flavor. I don't know about you, but it's really important to me that my food actually tastes good. A little onion can greatly improve your lentil soup, your fried rice, even your salad dressing. And don't throw away those scraps. Save your onion tops and that outer fibrous layer near the skin and simmer them gently with your carrot tops and peelings to make a very simple and free vegetable broth, which can be used to bring even more flavor to your dishes. So how would this $13.08 week work exactly? Assuming your calorie needs are 2,000 per day, you'll need 14,000 calories total in the week. Since you just bought almost 28,000 calories this week and you still have 8,580 calories of oil left over from last week, this puts you in a great position with lots of possibilities. You could eat half the remaining oil for 4,290 calories, slightly more than half the flour for 4,925 calories, 2 out of the 3 pounds of total legumes for 2,080 calories, just 1.5 out of the 10 pounds of rice for 2,400 calories, half the carrots for 150 calories, the whole onion for 100 calories. Then, with some 0-calorie salt and vinegar for flavor, you would have a total of 13,945 calories for the week. And guess what? You'll still have 1/3 of a bottle of oil, most of a pound of salt, most of the vinegar, half a pound of carrots, 8.5 pounds of rice, a little over 2 pounds of flour, and a pound of legumes left over for the following weeks. And you still have the 67 cents left over from the $13.75 that you originally took to Target this week. Now, when we get to week 3, you already have so much food now in your pantry by now that if you wanted to be really hardcore, you could just not go grocery shopping at all and just eat completely out of your pantry for week number 3, and even some of week 4 as well. If you did this, that would mean that going into week 4, you would now have $20.67 to spend, and you still already have a few things in your pantry. But there are less hardcore versions of this plan. Extreme emergency survival budget eating is not for everyone, especially not for me. I like me some fancy grass-fed ribeye steak and sauteed oyster mushrooms and celery root puree with a white wine reduction sauce. If you just want to cut down on your food expenses a little, you could use these cheap pantry staples as a base for your meals and add whatever you need to make it tastier for you. Add a little cheese to your refried beans, add sausage and tomatoes to your lentil soup, add spices and butter to your rice and serve it with roasted chicken. Or you could try replacing just one meal every day with a survival meal like this. With a few alterations, you can create a meal plan for yourself that not only tastes good, but saves you money. Anyway, I hope this gave you some more ideas on how to survive for just $10 a week on groceries in the US. If you want some step-by-step videos and instructions on how to make things like crispy chickpeas and sprouted lentils and fried rice and lentil soup and any of the other things I mentioned in this video, check out the links in the video description. Thank you to all the patrons who support this channel, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all for part 3 of this series.